Well, I just couldn't resist, and I brought home another one of these things. So, today's victim is a old HP Pavlon. I think it's got like a Core 2 Duo kind of dilly whacker. It's got an Intel Pentium. Hopefully that does not mean like Pentium 4 or something. That would be pretty sad. I think this has got a LGA socket 775 and something like that. Ooh, Light Scribe. Oh, we got the dual CD drives, man. We're fancy. Ouch, that was not pleasant. Ooh, nicely done. Okay, so this thing's a pile of dirt, but I think it'd be a really nice Windows XP machine, and I'll show you why. I did crack it open. But before I open the back, you can see we got a most critical component right here. We have a cheap dial-up modem. So it has a Firewire, which is really nice. It's got DVI VGA on the integrated graphics, and it has digital audio out or something like that. I don't know. That's too fancy for me. Digital audio in and out. Wow. I have no interest in ever using that. Definitely gonna need it washing. I don't think I need to run it through the dishwasher, but it's definitely dirty. Now, let's see, I open this. What's the date on this thing? 2008. So this is probably about 2009, something like that. We got a high pro power supply. At least it's not a best tech. And you can see the hard drives over here, but look over here. You see this is an IDE, and there's another hard drive up in here. And there's apparently an IDE CD drive too. Appears to have some sort of Foxconn motherboard, maybe. Look at this. Nope. Just in the silk screen by the RAN, it just says nope. Understandable. One of the downsides with this computer is it's got a NVIDIA graphics and chipset, most likely. And although I think NVIDIA is all high performance and good, there's no graphics card in here, so what that sticker is referring to is the chipset and integrated graphics, which I prefer Intel when it comes to this. I've never liked this integrated chipset, but we'll see. We'll go ahead and plug it in. Have not done that before. Okay, I plugged it in, and it hasn't exploded yet. It means we're not trying hard enough. Oh. Got a habit of choosing big-ass monitors that are hard to record. See if it works. Oh. Turn on! Ooh, there's dust flying out of it. Come on. The real question is, does the monitor work? Okay. Digital? Nah. This motherboard does have DVI, but I got it plugged into VGA. There it is. Oh. It says Intel there. CPU is definitely Intel, but I didn't think the chipset was. I hear an optical disc flying around in there. Oh, is it a printer? It's a printer. Don't you just love printers? Oh. Nice. Well, I can't help but notice there's nothing happening right now. I shall connect keyboard. Control delete. Let's go to the BIOS. Come on, BIOS. Hello? Try again. I hear a hard drive initializing. I don't know if there's two. Setup. Setup. Entering setup. Come on, setup. This is not setup. Oh, this is setup. Oh, wow. So, oh, wow, that was a slow BIOS. Okay, so I see one DVD drive. The other one's not here, so I'm wondering if they got the jumpers wrong on that IDE channel, and that's why this thing's being funky. It's not 2015 anymore, so that's a little weird. I see two hard drives, both being Seagates. One's probably, an 80 gig. The other one's probably 320. We got a whole 3 gigabytes of RAM. Whoa. Spared no expense there. Okay, so as I expected, this is a... Something is buzzing inside the computer. As I expected, this is a Core 2 Duo based kind of system. So this is a Pentium dual core, which is like a slightly watered down Core 2 Duo. It's pretty good. You can overclock the piss out of them things if your motherboard's not locked like this one. This is a very, very simple BIOS, even for HP. I guess we'll try booting it up. I don't know if this thing works. I wasn't told if it worked or not. Okay, so this thing came from the factory with Windows Vista. Let's see if we got 7 or Vista. Oh, we got Vista. Delicious. Means we're gonna need a mouse. Considering this is Windows Vista, that really didn't take that long to boot. I still hear it grinding the hard drive, though. Will it find the mouse I've plugged in? Not yet. Let's see if we need passwords. Oh, the keyboard's not working. So I guess I shall wait for it to load the drivers for my mouse and keyboard. 15 years later, the mouse finally started working. Now, I'm not going to explore the personal files, but I do want to see if the computer is functional. So I shall continue. I don't think I need a password. This thing's probably running its factory installation here. Oh my, would you look at the bird. That's a nice bird you got there, bud. That's a big turkey, I think. Oh, they have the classic start menu. Man, what a Chad. And they have the icons on the desktop. I support that. So, what do we have in this thing? Oh. This thing has, of course, the Core 2 Duo kind of thingy, but not. This is the factory installation. Surprised it's working as good as it does. Device is disabled. For some reason, the Ethernet controller's been disabled. I guess they didn't... Maybe they're trying to use Wi-Fi? So, the graphics in this system Now this is kind of what I suspected. The graphics in the system, I believe, left something to be desired. Don't let the NVIDIA fool you. These are integrated graphics. You can feel it. So it is a NVIDIA chipset, noted by the Ethernet controller too. I just haven't had very much luck with those. So, ooh, iTunes. We're gonna find some killer music in here. Oh. Come on, good music. Where are you? Come on. Bring me some killer music. What quality do you think? 320 kilobit per second MP3s? We got some LimeWire on here? That'd be pretty neat. What is this? Oh, Jesus. Wow. They got 7-zip. Flight simulator? Huh. I'm sure that ran good in here. Typing instructor for kids. You know, I'd probably use that. So it looks like iTunes. Let's see what Task Mangler says about our computer status. Huh. It's not terrible, considering. iTunes. Damn. Better be a killer library in here. It sure is taking a while. Let's see about our hard disk capacity. So we got a 320 gig drive and an 80 gig drive. It almost looks like that they had an older computer they upgraded from and they took the optical drive and hard drive out of it. Yep, this is a Windows XP installation here. My music? Ah, no music. Music? Canyon? No. Oh, okay. This isn't exactly what I was looking for. Oh, iTunes? Is that you, iTunes? Oh. That's a good sign. Maybe I'll just click it again. iTunes. Damn you, iTunes. One of these hard drives is making unhappy sounds. iTunes. iTunes. Oh. Oh, don't tell me there's no music. Well, there's no music in that one. Come on, music. Nope. Okay, well, that's enough. Time to nuke the hard drive. Discovered no music. Oh, they got this old classic thing enabled too. I support that. Along with a nice bird. A turkle. So now that I know the pooter works, I shall turn off, darn it. Turn off, please. Okay. So now that I know the pooter works, I shall clean it. Now this does have the factory image, so I'm probably actually going to load the factory pre-image, so I don't know why I want to use Windows Vista, but I don't know. Crispy. So it didn't explode when I plugged it in, so that's always a plus. Once in a while that happens. Okay, so this is pretty easy HP to work on. Maybe. Here's this thing. Maybe we can fix this. It's nice that it has FireWire. So first I'm going to remove this hard drive and CD drive, that's IDE, because I don't need it in this computer. Definitely need some IDE drives. I've been running low. Uh-oh. Yeah, I get it later. Here's our IDE drive, 80 gigs, Seagate. Useful in an old computer. What's a jumper set to? Let's see here. And the jumper is set to cable select on there, so that's not a problem. And then to just remove the optical drive, you just kind of like bend this up and they slide out. It's a long one. Yeah. Okay, here's the optical drive, and it's a thick one. How long it is compared to the other one. And it is set to cable select, so I'm not sure why it wasn't being detected. It might not have been plugged in. I don't know. It's a CD burner. Might as well move the other ones too. Make the case easier to work on. DVD writer with light scribe in case you need to give your CD a tattoo. Interesting thing about this computer's power supply is that it doesn't have any SATA connectors. So this is factory. HP put these little SATA Molex connectors on the power supply so they can get a couple more years out of these old power supplies and use up old stock. I've seen this in other HPs just like this one. You see, here's the other one for the hard drive. They must have made extra of these power supplies, and that's how they decided to go about keeping on using them. Here's our other hard drive. It's a 320 gigabyte Seagate, as the BIOS suggested. I might have a CPU upgrade we can toss in this thing, but I doubt if it really needs it. Those Pentium dual cores are pretty decent. The Core 2 Duo based ones are just fine. I'm going to take apart this thing and give it a good scrub down. Pretty dusty. Another interesting fact is I bet this computer has been apart about 1,000 times because it does not have HP's famous pain in the ass screws. They're all Phillips. So either someone's had to take apart this computer a lot, or it's kind of one of the rare ones that HP wasn't an ass to. But Compaq used to use these Torx screws with also a flathead through them, and HP used those for many years and probably still does. Interestingly, this case doesn't have those. Here's our power supply. Upside down, because this case is upside down. Okay, how many gigawatts we getting out of this thing? 250? 250 watt. High-pro power supplies aren't terrible. Certainly not the worst. Could have been a best tech. HP used those at one point. In some of their older computers. This case is kind of unfortunate because it's upside down. You can build in them, but it's just weird. Most of these are normal connectors, though. Actually, I think, what is that? Take that back. I'm pretty sure this case connector is funky. I don't remember. This case uses a single retaining screw to hold all the cards, and it's kind of corroded. This is a crappy dial-up modem. It's just a Win modem. It's pretty junky. If the dial-up modem doesn't matter in the first place. But out of all the dial-up modems, this one's a crappy one. Let's see about the RAM in this thing. That's interesting, they're matching brand. So I imagine this thing didn't come from the factory 3 gigs. Let's see if it did. Does it still, yes, it does still have the sticker. Well, it came with 3 gigs of RAM. Yeah, it's pretty much standard, other than the, yeah, here's the graphics processor, garbage. Pretty sure. Yep, 3 gigs of RAM. So, meaning that this system has integrated graphics, it would have benefited from having matching sticks for dual channel, so that the graphics will perform better, I believe. Here's our motherboard. Got a Foxconn heatsink. So what makes this motherboard a little bit desirable for me is that it has a floppy connector and it has an IDE connector, but it's still modern enough that you can do stuff with. So you connect your old computer components to this. It's kind of at that crossover era. Looks like here's the FireWire port. It's got SPDIF out. I'm not going to be using that, but you definitely could. But that's a floppy connector. I'll have to plug me a floppy in the front of this thing. Yeah, I've never seen a computer with digital audio in like that. SPDIF. It's pretty rare. I've also never seen a computer with a socketed chip. Look at that. I have no idea what that is, but it's socketed. That's just weird. I've never seen a modern computer with a socketed chip like that. That's weird. I wonder why they thought they had to put that in the socket. Does it fail that often? I wonder if it has to do with the audio in this thing. I certainly haven't seen that in a computer from this era. So the CMOS battery is dead because the date and time are completely wrong. So it's probably dead, or if not, it's very close to being dead. Just get out of there. Well, I would never. What the? There. Putting a new CMOS battery in. Easy as that. So we'll go ahead and see what the thermal compound looks on the processor here, along with what kind of processor it is, because I can't remember. Noting that I'm working on the anti-static carpet, of course. Ooh. My CPU fan's bad. It's getting bad. The bearings are making some sounds. If that thing's noisy, I might try oiling it. If not, I got a replacement somewhere. Okay, what are we looking at? I'm looking at some dirt. Pretty flimsy little heatsink, but that's fine because this processor, it just sips on the power. Rubbing alcohol. I don't know if that's factory or not. Some may have redid it before. If they did, it's been a while. It's pretty crumbly. It's probably factory. Kind of debating on whether I should take this apart and like wash in the sink. I don't know how I'm going to be able to clean the internals of it. It doesn't smell like cigarette smoke, so I don't know. I might just wipe it off. Yeah, if I get a computer that smells like cigarette smoke, I run it through the dishwasher. I don't care if it survives or not, but so far all of them I've washed have. I just cannot stand having the smell of cigarette smoke when I turn the computer on. Anytime it's running, it's just ucky. Pentium dual core, 2.2 gigahertz. Sorry. Interesting fact about some of these LGA socket 775 CPUs is that you flip it over, I think there's 1 or 2 pins you can cover up and it will overclock it. So even on a board like this that you can't overclock, you could still overclock it by covering up, I think it was like 2 of the pins or something like that. I can't remember. Probably it'd be nice if I ordered some Core 2 quads to stick in this thing. I need to order some Core 2 quads for a couple of my computers. I could stick one in here. Make sure I didn't get any of the pads ucky. Nope. There we go. Get some of that ucky. Oh boy. Okay. Now, I'm going to do something you probably shouldn't do. And I'm going to take a vacuum to the computer and the motherboard. Now, when you vacuum something, the end of the vacuum creates static, which is bad for the computer, and you shouldn't do it. Now, that being said, I'm going to do it, and I've never killed the computer with static so far. And as you can see, I certainly try. Here I have the carpet. So I'm going to do that and take a vacuum to this, just to get it a little cleaner. How does this come apart? Huh. Yeah, I'll just take a vacuum to it and just get the dirt off. Don't recommend it, but I'm going to do it anyway. Last thing we're going to look into is this power supply. I'm going to take the screws out and see if there's anything inside that's concerning. You don't look that great in here, so it's pretty clean, but if you look in here, see that capacitor's bloated. That capacitor's bloated and started to leak. So, oh, that one's gone. Yeah, this thing could use some new capacitors, but it is working for the time being. I'll just run it until it blows up completely. It's probably got a fan that just barely moves any air, and they got hot and popped. I wonder what brand they are. Tipo. Yeah, that one's cooked. Capacitors aren't supposed to look like balloons. But I think I'll just run it until it lets the smoke out. Can hardly believe what I'm seeing here. So, like I mentioned, this power supply is really old and has these kind of connectors so that you can plug in modern devices, you know, Molex to SATA, right? So, not only does it only have a 20-pin connector, which is the older style, but look what HP did. You see that zip tie there? That zip tie is what it came from the factory. Now, I don't know how this happened down the line here, but they had to add a CPU power connector to this thing. That's the only thing I can think of, because look at this. You see that zip tie there? That's supposed to go over all the wires, and then this one, it's not zip tied in, so that leads me to believe that this power supply is so old that it had to have this connector grafted onto it. I'd take it apart and look at that again, but there's a lot of screws. That's wild. Probably went in there, connected it separately to the 12-volt rail, just for CPU power. Man, I don't know how much I trust this. 5 volts, 25 amps. Oh yeah, plus 12 volts is only 14 amps. 3.3 volts, 18 amps. Yeah, this power supply is garbage. I'll probably change it out with one of my other ones. Here's a look before I throw in all the giant mess of power supply and its cables. Not bad. It's all cleaned up now. I went ahead and just put the one optical drive and hard drive. I'm going to use the other ones for a different computer and stuff. And I did not upgrade the RAM yet. I'll see if it needs it. It still feels terrible. We'll get to that. I'll tell you what, this power supply, it's really strange. So, on the end of this Molex connector, you have your 3.5-inch or floppy drive power connector, right? Well, on the end of this one, you have another one. This never happens. Most power supplies, they have one Molex connector that has this on the end, and then the other one just stops here. Why are there two? I don't know. That tells me this power supply is really high quality. But that reminds me, I think I'm going to try to stick a floppy disk in this thing. Well, never mind. If I do that, this is going to look really funky. The faceplate is. And I don't feel like getting the Dremel out tonight, so I guess I'll pass on that one. Here's the completed project. Cable management in this case is impossible, so I just, I tried. I got these little connectors here, and I tried to use those, but it's always a mess. Especially because this case, the power supply cables come out on this side instead of the other side, because this entire computer is like flipped upside down. If you notice, most computers, you don't take this side of the panel off, you take the other one off. It's because this form factor is different than normal. But it's together. So I'll go ahead and start on the software side of things. I'm going to just reload the factory pre-image, which it's Windows Vista, and I'm sure there's a lot of things wrong there, but I don't know. I'm just feeling like using Windows Vista today, so I guess that's what I shall do.